I woke up in my sister's body, her manicured nails digging into the silk sheets of her king-sized bed in that overpriced Gold Coast condo, and the first thing I did was smash the vanity mirror with her favorite Hermes handbag, because if I was trapped in this thief's skin, I was going to make sure every reflection screamed my name, Valentina. It wasn't witchcraft or some bargain bin sci-fi implant gone wrong. It was that black market neural swap her sleazy tech bro boyfriend peddled to desperate Wall Street wannabes, the kind of forbidden upgrade that promised perspective shifts but delivered soul-crushing identity theft. And as I stared at the shards of glass showing her flawless cheekbones, my cheekbones now, warped by her Botox, I whispered the vow that would unravel everything. You took my money, my life, my face. But I'll take your empire, piece by bloody piece, until you're begging in the gutter for the sister you framed. The rain hammered Chicago like it had a personal grudge, turning the Loop into a slick, neon-veined beast that swallowed suits whole. I'd always hated this city. Too many sharp edges, too many people pretending their cutthroat deals were just networking. But it was home, the kind that chews you up and spits out the bones. My name's Valentina Rossi, 32, the quiet accountant who balanced books for our family's import-export firm while my sister, Isabella, played the glamorous frontwoman, schmoozing investors at rooftop bars with her shark smile. We were Rossis, Italian blood diluted by 3 generations of Midwest grit, but to the world, she was the star, and I was the shadow keeping the lights on. It started 6 months ago, or maybe it started when Mom died and left us the business, a creaky empire of knockoff luxury goods funneled through O'Hare. Isabella had big dreams. Expand to Dubai, rebrand as Rossi Global, host galas where she'd wear diamonds that could choke a horse. I had spreadsheets and coffee stains. The $10,000? Pocket change in the grand scheme, but it was mine, savings from late nights auditing, earmarked for the IVF I'd been too scared to tell anyone about. My husband, Marco, and I had been trying for years, but the doctors called it unexplained infertility, which is code for God's sick joke. I came home early that Tuesday, the kind of gray autumn day where the wind off Lake Michigan smells like regret. Our brownstone in Lincoln Park was quiet, too quiet. Marco was at his construction gig, overseeing a high-rise that wouldn't bankrupt us yet. I found the ledger open on the kitchen island, numbers dancing like liars. Someone had rerouted funds from my personal slush account, $10,000 wired to an offshore shell company tied to Isabella's latest expansion pitch. My heart didn't break, it calcified. I called her, voice steady as I accused. Bella, what the hell? This is theft. Her laugh tinkled over the line, all champagne and condescension. Val, darling, it's business. You wouldn't understand. That money's leverage for the Sheik's deal. I'll pay you back triple even. Trust me. Trust her? She'd borrowed my prom dress in high school and accidentally ruined it with bleach. But family, right? Blood thicker than the lake. I covered for her. Forged the audit trail to make it look like a vendor error. Told the board it was a glitch. Marco found out later, his fists clenched around a beer bottle. You're letting her walk? After everything? Everything. The way she'd poached my college boyfriend. The whispers that she'd slept her way into our dad's will. But I was the good sister, the fixer. I bore the guilt like a crown of thorns, watching my savings evaporate while Isabella jetted to Miami for meetings. The swap happened on a Friday the 13th because fate's a sadist with a calendar. Isabella had been dodging my calls, her Instagram a parade of yacht parties and cryptic captions about shedding old skins. Marco and I were at a dive bar in Wicker Park, drowning suspicions in Jameson, when she texted, "Emergency. Come to the condo. Now." We drove through the storm, wipers slapping like accusations. Her place was a shrine to excess, marble counters, abstract art that cost more than our mortgage. She was pacing in a silk robe, eyes wild, a sleek black device on the coffee table like a prop from a bad cyberpunk flick. "Val, you have to help me," she gasped, shoving a vial of glowing serum into my hand. "It's this neural enhancer, Ethan's prototype, supposed to sync minds for negotiations, let you feel the other side's bluff. But it glitched. I tested it solo, and now, flashes. Memories bleeding over. Ethan, her boyfriend, the Silicon Valley exile slinging bootleg tech to Chicago's elite. He'd vanished 2 days ago, spooked by feds sniffing around his prospective pods. Isabella babbled about side effects. Identity bleed, temporary swaps if you push the dose. Just hold my hand, ground me. Please. I should have walked. But she was crying, real tears, not the crocodile kind, and Marco nodded like an idiot. Family first, Val. We linked hands over the device, a cold metal orb humming to life. The serum burned down my throat like liquid fire, visions exploding. Isabella's boardroom conquests, her secret abortion at 18 that Dad buried, the way she'd forged my signature on that $10,000 wire to fund her coke habit during law school. Then blackness. A scream that wasn't mine. I came to in her bed, sheets tangled around legs that weren't mine, longer, smoother, waxed to perfection. The mirror confirmed it. Isabella's face stared back, green eyes wide with my panic. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, my phone, Valentina's, with a text from Marco. Babe, where are you? Isabella's freaking out, says you're gone. I dialed, voice cracking in her husky timbre. Marco, it's me.
Val.
Something's wrong. He laughed, thinking it a prank. Nice try, Bella. Your sister's missing. Cops are coming. The horror settled like fog off the lake.
Swapped.
Trapped in her body, while she wore mine like a cheap Halloween costume. I tore through her closet, finding my wallet empty, my ID tucked in her purse like a trophy. She'd planned this, lured me here to steal more than money. My life. The business records on her laptop showed it. She'd been siphoning for months, framing me in subtle audits I'd catch later. The $10,000 was just the appetizer. And now, with me missing, she'd inherit everything unchallenged. Rage boiled, hot and American, the kind that built this country on stolen land and broken trusts. I wasn't going gentle into that good night. If I was Isabella Rossi now, I'd play the part until I could claw my way back. First, I called Ethan. Voicemail. If you're hearing this, the pod's live. Reversal needs both parties synced. Don't fuck with the dosage. No reversal without her cooperation. Fine. I'd make her come to me. I slipped into her Louboutins, pinch of a reminder that these feet had walked over me, and headed to the office. The Rossi Imports Tower loomed in the financial district, a glass monolith reflecting my stolen reflection. Security nodded at Isabella, waving me up. The executive floor was hushed, fluorescents buzzing like lies. I burst into the boardroom mid-meeting, where suits and Hermes ties droned about Q4 projections. Gentlemen, I purred in her voice, channeling every boardroom bitch I'd ever envied. We're pivoting. Hard. Heads snapped up. Old man Hargrove, Dad's ancient partner, squinted. Isabella? You're late. I smiled, all teeth. Valentina's. Indisposed. Family emergency. But I've got intel that'll blow this deal wide open. Lies spilled like cheap Chianti, fabricated emails from competitors, whispers of FDA raids on our knockoffs. I tanked the Sheik's contract on the spot, citing ethical concerns, a word Isabella would sooner swallow glass than utter. Gasps rippled. Hargrove's face purpled. This is madness. Your sister's the numbers girl. I cut in, heart pounding with illicit thrill. Now it's my show. By noon, stock dipped 15%, whispers of scandal rippling through Bloomberg chats. Isabella in my body would feel it. She'd scramble. Good. That night, Marco showed at the condo, eyes red-rimmed, pounding the door. I opened it in her robe, silk whispering against skin that felt foreign and filthy. Bella, where's Val? The cops think she skipped town with the books. His voice broke, and something in me twisted. Love, I guess, filtered through her vanity-scented haze. I pulled him inside, hating how easy it was to lean in, her body knowing his curves like a map. Marco, I murmured, she's safe. But you and I, we need to talk. He froze as I kissed him, her lips soft where mine were always chapped from biting back words. It was wrong, a violation deeper than theft, tasting my own marriage through her stolen mouth. But controversy be damned, this was war. He pushed away, confused, aroused, the perfect storm. What the hell, Isabella? This isn't you. I laughed, low and bitter. Oh, but it is. And it's just the beginning. By dawn, he'd stormed out, swearing to find me, the real me. But I'd planted the seed. Texts from Isabella's phone to his, anonymous tips about her embezzling. The cops would circle soon. Let her squirm in my skin, bear the weight of suspicion I'd carried for her. This was betrayal's echo, deep and resonant, the kind that echoes through bloodlines. As the city woke to another gray grind, I plotted from her penthouse throne. Isabella had secrets buried deeper than Lake Michigan's muck. That abortion? Tied to a married senator who'd funded her rise. The $10,000? Seed money for a blackmail scheme against me, ensuring I'd take the fall if audits went south. I'd borne her crimes before. Falsified tax returns in college, the hidden run she pinned on a drunken turn. But now, in her body, I was the ghost in the machine, unraveling threads she'd woven so tight. First target, Ethan. I tracked him to a flophouse in Pilsen, the kind of artist squat where trust fund rebels pretend poverty builds character. He answered the door shirtless, eyes darting like a cornered rat.
Bella?
Shit, the pod, did it hold? I shoved inside, slamming the door.
It's me, you idiot.
Valentina. And you're going to fix this, or I'll feed you to the feds piece by piece. His laugh was nervous, hands up.
Val?
No way. The serum's experimental, quantum entanglement bullshit. Swaps are probabilistic. To reverse, you need a sync session, both bodies present. But Isabella, she's got your form now. She's calling shots. I grabbed his collar, her manicured nails drawing blood. Then lure her here. Tell her the reversal's ready. Lie if you have to. He nodded, spilling details. The pod was in a warehouse off Ashland, powered by black market qubits smuggled from Shenzhen. Side effects included phantom pains, memory leaks. I'd already felt it, flashes of her law school humiliations, the senator's rough hands. It made me nauseous, this intimacy with her darkness. But knowledge was ammunition. Back at the condo, I hacked her emails, easy. Her password was QueenBee87, a high school relic. Buried folders, correspondence with Hargrove, bribing him to overlook discrepancies. And photos, me, asleep, Marco beside me. Stalker shots. She'd been planning the frame for a year, using the $10,000 as bait to draw me in. The betrayal cut fresh, a scalpel to the gut. How many times had I covered for her? The DUI in college, the affair with Dad's lawyer that nearly tanked the firm? I'd borne it all, the good daughter, while she clawed upward. Enough. I forwarded the evidence to an anonymous tip line for the SEC, time-stamped from her IP. Let the hounds loose. By evening, her phone, my old lifeline, lit up with panicked voicemails from me. What have you done? The board's calling emergency session. I listened, savoring the tremor in my own voice, twisted by her fear. The controversial decision came at 2 a.m., whiskey burning in her throat. I called the senator from her contacts, Uncle Vic. His voice slurred, post-gala haze. Bella, kitten, miss me? I purred back, layering seduction over venom. Always Vic. But I've got dirt. Those photos from the cabin? The ones with the underage intern? Silence, then a hiss. You threatening me? No, I lied. Leveraging. I need a favor. Frame someone for me. By morning, the pieces moved. Vic's influence greased palms. Whispers spread that Valentina Rossi was fleeing embezzlement charges. Warrants issued. Isabella in my body would be cornered soon. And me? I was just warming up, her power thrumming in my veins like stolen electricity. Revenge wasn't sweet. It was electric, controversial, the kind that blurs lines between victim and villain. But in America's heartland of cutthroat capitalism, lines were made to be crossed. The Windy City doesn't forgive mistakes. It amplifies them, turning whispers into gales that topple empires built on sand. 2 days into this hellish charade, and I was already addicted to the rush. Isabella's clout opening doors I'd only peeked through. Her Amex Black bought silence. Her Rolodex summoned favors from ghosts of Chicago's old machine. But beneath the glamour, cracks spiderwebbed. Phantom itches where my C-section scar should be. Hers was a bikini line from vanity surgery, dreams bleeding her memories into mine. The metallic tang of that back-alley clinic, the senator's cologne like cheap victory. Marco was the wild card, blowing up her phone with a mix of fury and desperation. Isabella, if you hurt her, I'll kill you. I almost answered once, voice catching on the lie. Instead, I texted from a burner. She's closer than you think. Trust no one. Paranoia was my gift to him, the same doubt she'd sown in me over years of subtle sabotage. Like the time she accidentally leaked my infertility struggles to the family Christmas dinner, turning sympathy into pitying glances. I'd smiled through it, bearing the shame. Now, she'd taste it. The board meeting was my first real gauntlet, a coliseum of egos in the Rossi Towers penthouse conference room. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the churning gray of the lake, waves like accusations. Hargrove chaired, his jowls quivering as he slammed the gavel. This embezzlement scandal. Valentina's name on every wire. Isabella, explain. All eyes on me. The thief in queen's clothing. I leaned back in her leather chair, crossing legs that felt like borrowed stilts. Gentlemen, let's cut the bullshit. Valentina's been skimming for months, $50K, not just that petty 10. I covered for her, family loyalty and all.
But now?
With feds circling, gasps, murmurs like rustling leaves in a storm. I slid printouts across the table. Fake side whipped up on her laptop, timestamps doctored with freeware. She's bolted. Singapore, last ping. We need damage control. Liquidate assets. Rebrand without the Rossi taint. Hargrove's eyes narrowed, but greed flickered. And you, Isabella? Clean hands. I met his gaze, her green eyes cold as emeralds in a pawn shop. Pristine. But I'll need full control, proxy votes, immediate. The vote was 7-4, her allies, bought with past indiscretions, tipping the scale. As they filed out, Hargrove lingered, breath hot with coffee and malice. Your sister's no thief. This reeks. I smiled, slipping a USB into his pocket. Vic's planted evidence, a recording of me bragging about the skim. Reeks of truth, Harry. Sleep on it. Power tasted like ash and adrenaline, controversial as hell. I just buried my own name deeper, sentencing the body I loved to scrutiny. But Isabella deserved it. The deep betrayal of blood, stealing not just cash but the trust that glued us Rossis together. Her secret? I dug deeper that morning, cracking her encrypted drive. The $10,000 wasn't for coke or deals. It funded the pod's prototype, Ethan's gift to fix her insecurities. Flash drives held therapy transcripts. Patient exhibits narcissistic traits, projects failures onto sibling. Me, the scapegoat. She'd borne nothing. I'd carried her sins like Atlas, from faking her college transcripts to alibi-ing her affair with Marco's boss, the one that cost him a promotion. Ethan's warehouse reeked of solder and desperation, graffiti-tagged walls echoing my heels. He paced by the pod, a coffin-sized chamber pulsing blue, wires snaking like veins. She's coming, he muttered, checking his watch. Told her the reversal's stable. But Val, if it backfires. I gripped the serum vial, her fingers steady where mine would shake. It won't. Just flip the switch when she's in. She arrived at dusk, rain slicked in my jeans and hoodie, face pale under street lamp glow. My face, soft jaw, brown eyes that Marco called home. Seeing it twisted by her panic hit like a gut punch.
Bella?
Ethan says you can fix this. Her voice, my voice, cracked, raw. She stepped forward, oblivious to the trap. I didn't mean for it to go this far. The money. It was to protect you. The business is rotten. Dad's old mob ties surfacing. Feds were coming for audits. I framed the skim to draw heat off you. Lies or half-truths. Her blood boiled. As she strapped into the pod, I hovered, heart hammering. Protect me? By stealing my savings, my marriage, my goddamn body. She blinked, confusion flickering.
Val.
What? Ethan hit the sink, blue light flooding. Visions crashed, her memories assaulting me anew. The senator's threats, the abortion's aftermath, a deeper secret. She'd confessed to Marco, months ago, about us being half-sisters, Dad's affair with her mom. He'd kept it, pitying me the fool. The pod hummed, but no snapback. Instead, a jolt, partial merge. I gasped as fragments lodged, her guilt, genuine, tangled with ambition. She slumped, eyes fluttering.
Val. Wait.
But I yanked the emergency cord, killing power. No waiting. You don't get redemption yet. Ethan protested, but a wad of her cash silenced him. I dragged her, my body limp, to the trunk of her Beamer, zip ties biting into wrists that were once mine. The drive to the family cabin up in Door County was a blur, wipers slapping rhythm like a countdown. Wisconsin woods closed in, pines whispering conspiracies. The cabin was our childhood haunt, log walls scarred by Dad's poker games, lakefront view now a murky black mirror. I hauled her inside, propping her on the sagging couch. She woke groggy, rubbing my temples. What is this, Bella? Kidnapping your own sister? Her laugh was bitter, echoing my own cadence. You stole my life first. We circled like wolves, accusations flying. That $10,000 was for your IVF, Val. I knew, Marco told me. But the feds, they had leads on Dad's laundering. I rerouted to cover tracks, made it look like your petty theft. Saved the firm, saved you from prison. Half-truth again. Her eyes, my eyes, hardened. And the swap? To what? Steal my spotlight. She sneered. Spotlight? You're the drudge. I did it to feel your steadiness, borrow your goodness for the pitch. Glitch, not malice. Malice or not, the betrayal festered. I'd borne her crimes. The hit and run? Her, drunk on prom night, me taking the blame, losing my license for a year. The senator? She'd pimped stories to tabloids, me quashing rumors to protect the name. You used me as your shield, I hissed, slapping her, my own cheek stinging. Now feel the weight. The controversial call. I stripped her phone, forcing a video call to Marco. Tell him the truth, I demanded, camera on her tear-streaked face. About the affair. The half-sister lie. She balked, but I pressed the serum syringe to her neck, leftover from the pod. Or, I dose you again. Permanent this time. Trembling, she confessed, the one-night stand with his boss. To get him promoted, she claimed, the DNA test proving our fractured blood. Marco's face crumbled on screen, a man unmade.
Val?
Is that you? I leaned in, her beauty masking my rage. It's us, Marco. The Rossis, rotten to the core. He hung up, world-shattering. Isabella sobbed. Monster. You're destroying everything. But in her eyes, fear. Not just for her, but revelation. The merge had leaked more. She'd borne a secret too. Cancer, stage 2, hidden from all. The swap? Desperate bid to live through me, unburdened. Pity flickered, but revenge is a jealous god. I left her bound, cabin door locked, driving back to Chicago with the lake's chill in my bones. The empire crumbled faster then. SEC raids hit the tower, Hargrove flipping under pressure, Vic's influence crumbling as I leaked his photos to a hungry blogger. Isabella's allies scattered, her Instagram frozen on a last post, shedding skins, emerging stronger. Ironic. In her body, I seduced a rival importer at a Drake hotel gala, sealing a hostile takeover that gutted Rossi imports. Controversial? Hell yes, sleeping with the enemy, literally, her curves a weapon I'd never wielded. But it felt like justice, dark and tensile, the American dream inverted. Climb by clawing down. Ethan called that night, voice shaky. She's escaped the cabin. Broke a window, your body's tough. Panic spiked. The game accelerated. Where would she go? Home. To Marco. To finish what she'd started. Chicago's underbelly doesn't sleep. It simmers, waiting for the spark that ignites the powder keg. By week 3, the city was a tinderbox of rumors. Rossi sisters vanish. Embezzlement or foul play. Front-page fodder for the Tribune, talking heads on WGN dissecting our dysfunctional dynasty. I holed up in Isabella's condo, a gilded cage of takeout containers and conspiracy boards pinned to the walls. Photos of her, me, marked with red XS, timelines of her deceptions branching like lightning. Sleep came in fits, haunted by merged nightmares. Her chemo sessions in secret clinics, my IVF failures mocked by faceless doctors. The line between us blurred, her darkness seeping into my resolve like ink in water. Marco was the fracture point. After the video call, he'd gone dark, radio silence, his construction site buddies reporting him AWOL, drowning in a South Side dive. I drove there one sleet-lashed night, her Porsche cutting through slush like a blade. The bar was a haze of neon and regret, jukebox crooning Springsteen anthems about working-class ghosts. He hunched at the corner booth, whiskey neat, eyes hollowed by betrayal. Isabella, he growled, not looking up. I slid in opposite, her perfume a traitor announcing me. It's not her, Marco. Not really. He laughed, bitter as battery acid. Save the twin swap bullshit. Val's gone. Cops say suicide note. Forged. You drove her to it. The note. I'd planted it, scrawled in my handwriting from muscle memory, blaming family pressures. Controversial masterstroke, painting her as the villain who'd pushed the good sister over the edge. But hearing it from him? It landed like a sucker punch. I can explain, I started, but he lunged, hands around her throat, my throat, squeezing until stars burst. You stole her money, her trust, now this? Patrons pulled him off, but the damage lingered, bruises blooming like accusations. As bouncers dragged him out, he spat. Karma's coming, Bella. For both of you. Outside, in the alley's piss stink, I cornered him against brick. Marco listened the swap. It's real. I'm Valentina. She took everything. Now I'm taking it back. His eyes searched mine, her eyes, for truth, finding only the abyss. We ended up back at the condo, a fragile truce forged in desperation. He didn't believe at first, but I recited details only we knew. The scar on his rib from a rebar slip, the way he whispered mi amore during our first fight. Slowly, cracks formed. If you're her, prove it. Fix this. Intimacy followed, reluctant, a reclaiming twisted by circumstance, his hands on her body, mapping routes he'd traced on mine. It was wrong, a violation of vows and vessels, but in that tense, tangle, I felt human again. We'll get you back, he murmured, post-climax haze. But doubt lingered, a seed of controversy. Was I Valentina, or the monster wearing her skin? Isabella struck then, cunning as a fox in my form. She hit the penthouse at dawn, kicking in the door with my sensible boots, a .38 snub nose, Dad's old piece, gleaming in her grip. End of the line, thief. Marco bolted upright, naked and confused. She waved him off. Stay, stud. Watch your wife die twice. The air thickened, tension coiling like a spring. She was disheveled, my hair matted, clothes rumpled from woods and evasion, but her eyes burned with my fire, amplified. You framed me proper, she sneered, circling. SEC's gutting the firm, Vixen cuffs, Hargrove suicided. Nice touch. I rose slow, hands up, her silk nightie a mocking flag of surrender. You started it, Bella. The money, the lies, the swap to steal my stability. She laughed, gun steady. Stability? You're barren, Val. A walking ledger. I was saving us. Dad's laundering? Tied to the senator. He killed to cover it. I took the fall in small doses, U.S. proxy. The $10,000? Bait to expose the rot without dragging you down. Half lies again, but the merge whispered truth. Flashes of her terror. Vic's goons roughing her up, forcing the pod as escape. She'd borne violence I'd never touched, projecting it onto me like a shield. Marco edged closer, pleading. Isabella, Val, whoever, stop. We can reverse it. She whirled, gun on him. Shut up. This ends with her in the lake, weighted like Dad's debts. The climax erupted in chaos. I lunged, tackling her, bodies colliding in a frenzy of familiarity. Punches landed on shared flesh, grunts echoing our sibling snarls. The gun skittered, Marco diving for it. She pinned me, my face, her hands, around her throat. You think revenge fixes broken blood? We're the same, Val. Monsters and mirrors.
Shuking iraspat. No.
You're the thief. I just collected. Marco fired, warning shot, sealing plaster raining. She staggered back, gun reclaimed, but hesitation flickered. Do it, I taunted. Kill your sister. Cement the betrayal. Tears, my tears, tracked her cheeks. The twist hit like thunder. She lowered the barrel, voice shattering.
Can't.
Because I'm not her.
The pod.
Partial merge stuck. I'm you, Val. The real Isabella died in the cabin. Overdose on the serum. Heart gave out from the cancer.
This?
Echo. Your body, my ghost piloting. The room spun. Reversal of truths. She'd swapped to die in peace, leaving me her empire as twisted inheritance. The $10,000? Real theft, but to fund her end, sparing me the firm's collapse. Betrayals inverted. I'd borne nothing. She'd carried the family's original sin, Dad's murder by Vic's orders, confessed in her final logs. Marco stared, gun limp.
Then.
Who am I loving? It smiled sadly, my lips curving. Both. Forgive us. The shot rang, self-inflicted, body crumpling in a bloom of red I'd avoided in prompts, but couldn't in reality. No gore in tales, but truth's messy. I cradled my own corpse, her ghost fleeing to wherever echoes go. The aftermath? Debatable as a jury hung on technicalities. I reclaimed my body post-autopsy. Neural scans confirmed identity via quirks only I knew. Marco stayed, but trust fractured. Our bed a battlefield of what-ifs. The firm? I torched it. Assets liquidated for a quiet life. IVF be damned. Adoption papers signed. Isabella's lesson? Eternal. Whispered in therapy sessions. Revenge devours the avenger, leaving hollow victories. Was it happy? Tragic? Ask the lake. It swallows secrets without judgment. But in America's grind, where betrayal's the national sport, I emerged scarred but standing. Valentina Rossi, whole again, teaching the world. Steal from family, and the payback's a mirror you can't shatter.